realized there was a gap between my current options that I have and face today versus what could be. Recognition of that gap is a problem, is an aspiration, is a challenge, is an objective.
Welcome, everybody. Dr. John, Brianna. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I love this. Tim, Clarissa, Shannon, Rich. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming in. This is exciting. We've got David Brier on here as well. Mickey, oh, that's awesome. I see you coming in. Steven, Milla. Awesome, wonderful. Hey, so glad you guys could join us. This is very exciting. I am actually here in a Panera, so I apologize for the background music. I'm actually here in Florida, and we obviously hit that hurricane, so it's a lot of fun down here. But thank you so much for joining, everybody. I got Steven, awesome. Phil, hey man, I know you're coming from UK over there. That's awesome.
Hey, Chris.
And then awesome. And then we've got quite a few other people coming in. So I don't want to take up too much time of David, because we're going to dive in, and I just want to share with you a few what this is going to look like. Okay, first of all, this isn't going to be like any other training where we just sit passively. David's going to be doing about 20 minutes. I'm going to do a little intro for him, what he's been able to do, but he's going to do a little intro of like what he's doing, his credibility, what he's got going on. But then what we're going to do is actually go through, some of you guys responded, which is really awesome. And we're going to actually go through some of you guys' brands, and he's just going to go live because what we have found is that's the best. Instead of asking what questions or Q&A or anything like that, he's just going to dive into that. If you guys have any questions or anything after he kind of unpacks a brand, then definitely you guys can engage that. Angela, nice seeing you. Glad you're going to join. This is awesome. So we got a few more people. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friend here. So David Brier, he was on our podcast. I was introduced to him by one of my other podcast guests, and we just hit it off. And what he's doing, I asked him and said, hey, could you do this for my audience? Because most of you guys, I know you guys have incredible brands, but I always believe there's ways to optimize it by 1 or 2, 3% to really scale to the next level. And so he's worked with companies like Grant Cardone Capital, Damon John, the Trumpet Organization, Fortune 500, 100, Fortune 100 companies as well. Author of Amazon best-selling brand Intervention, responsible for $6 billion in sales as well. He's known for being the slayer of the mundane, liberator of awesomeness. So please welcome, without further ado, my friend, the one and only David Brier. David, I'll let you take it from here.
Great, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Christian. So, hey, everybody. So, first of all, who here has had coffee already this morning? I just want to know, just as by show of hands. Okay. Well, after this next hour-ish that we're going to be spending together, you may not need any more coffee for the balance of the week. Essentially, just to give you a little bit of a snapshot on me, I'm a native New Yorker. I now live and work in the Midwest, and it's not part of a witness protection program. Just for anybody who's kind of like, oh yeah, what the hell's a New Yorker doing in the Midwest? Well, it's true love is the actual answer. That's for a separate podcast. We'll do it another time. But the basic thing is I have been basically building and working with brands, from global brands to small startup brands and everything in between, generating well in excess of $7 billion. I've been doing it for 42 years, which means I started when I was 3. That's right. That's when I started. But the basic thing is this. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors in the game of branding. And one thing I can tell you for a fact, that if you don't give the market your story to tell, the story to talk about, they'll define your story for you. That is something you can take to the bank. And so working with companies, I help them basically eliminate the speed bumps, stand out, outsmart rather than outspend their competition, so that they can actually. The most painful thing I'll tell you that I experienced is entrepreneurs and business owners who have put in the blood, sweat, and tears to produce a superior product, a superior service. And by the way, just by a show of hands, who considers that what they have is like definitely a better option than what's out there? Just by a show of hands, who actually consider it? Okay. Here's the one thing that I have found. If you've taken the time and the effort to create a product or service like that, here's the next thing I see that happens way too often. Companies use the language of the old, meaning all the stuff that's come before, to introduce the new. Realize that we are in the business of actually helping people come to new conclusions. People, prospects, do not come to new conclusions with old information. So if we're using the language and the framing and all the stuff from before, it's like you have to work that much harder. You're like, well, wait a second, how come they're not closing? How come they're not signing up? Like, how come they're not lining up? How come I don't have my funnel just completely packed? That's why. So that's the stuff that I do, is that I actually create, and that's why, I mean, Dame, you know, you'll see in this, I mean, Damon John wrote the forward to this. He didn't do it out of, Damon and I didn't even know each other some years ago. And it happened because of an article that I had written for my Fast Company column. And that's another story. But the bottom line is there's a way to get it done. There are steps that you can do, and there's a heck of a lot of stuff you shouldn't be doing. Like stuff that's a waste of time, it's a waste of effort. And so it's knowing the really powerful stuff from the stuff that's a waste of time. That in short is a snapshot of me. It's the nutshell of what I do. And we could talk for a long time, which you know, you'll have the opportunity to do later. But right now, I just wanted to give you that. Did I leave anything out that I should have covered, Christian?
No, this is fantastic. This is awesome. Perfect.
All right. So the basic thing is what we're going to do. There's something that we do that really helps. So rather than kind of going back and forth and this and that, the other, we wanted to jump into what I call a brand audit. So Christian has picked 4 very brave, courageous, and people who love a little bit of pain with regard as entrepreneurs, that I'm going to actually do a dive. I'm going to pull it up. We're going to actually do a live brand audit. I have not seen these before. I'm looking at them with fresh eyes with you, but I'm going to look at and basically say, hey, what's happening, what's working, what's hitting, what's missing. And if there are questions after each of these, because we're going to be doing a handful of these, we're going to see how many we can fit in over the next hour window of time. And if there's any questions afterward, you're like, well, why did you ask that? Or how come that? Or blah, 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 blah. That we figure it would be a powerful way for you to get maximum value in the shortest amount of time. Okay? Sound like a plan?
Yep.
All right. Awesome. No, that's great. I thank you for that response, man. I'm taking your response as you're the voice for the entire group.
Sounds good.
All right, Jim. Thank you. Great. All right, Christian. Well, who's our first person?
Perfect. So what I went ahead and did is, and again, just to reiterate, like what David was saying, he has not seen these before. So we're really excited about it. A few of you guys actually raised your hand to volunteer for this, which is awesome. I appreciate that. We're going to go ahead. David, I just went ahead and put Clarissa Burt and her website in there as well. And then make sure that you have your video and your audio on, because he will reach out and obviously ask. So perfect. I'll let you take it.
Well, thanks for doing this, Dave. Thanks for you, Christian. Thanks, David, for doing this as well. Just as a sort of a precursor, I'm in the midst of redoing the website. So if you go to take a look at that, that's kind of why, but it's kind of the perfect time to take a look at the branding as well. So I'm really happy to do this with you.
Okay. So, actually, Christian, you need to make it so that I can actually share my screen.
Just did for you. Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, good. So let's take a look here. All right. So this is your site, Clarissa. So why don't you tell me, like in a minute or so, what is your business? What service are you offering?
Okay, so the service that I offer is in the Limelight Media, which is a multimedia platform, because it's a video, television, podcast, digital magazine. So I'm in media. So I've always had the difficulty of differentiating between Clarissa as the brand and the company as a brand. Also, and so there you go. That's kind of it in a nutshell. Because, and we have Angela on here as well, as from Italy. I lived in Italy for 30 years and worked on television there. So it was hard to, now that I live in the States, kind of to bring that over here where A, nobody really knew me, and B, how to better leverage the stuff I did there, but having the business here now. So it's the difference between Clarissa as a brand and in the Limelight as a company, and how I merge the two.
Got it. And so, but your audience is your public that you service, your clientele.
The service, yes.
Who?
Mostly women from about 30 to 55, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs that want to, get some promotion around their businesses. They don't have the wherewithal, the know with all the time. They also don't have huge budgets, which is kind of an issue sometimes.
Okay, so first of all, why are you all right? So let me just dial in a little bit on this, then we're going to come back to your site. So why would you have just looking very, very quickly, it looks like you've got some good street cred, which we're going to dive into.
Right.
But you've got that street cred, but you've got these women that are like don't sound like they're financially set up to actually invest. That sounds like it sounds like you've got the wrong audience.
I think I've got the wrong audience and the wrong messaging going on there. We are on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. In other words, we do offer some, I've got a beautiful magazine on all of that, but most of this was built over COVID. And I've never been known as one to go out and sell, go out and find the advertisers. The deal with being in content creation, as we all know, or most of us know, is that it takes time to create content. You need a couple of years to get that underneath your belt before you can really go after, get the metrics, get the numbers, go after the advertisers and whatever else.
Yeah. And
everybody's going after advertisers. So I don't even know if I'm in, the right business actually.
Right. No, all right. So there's a couple things here. So first of all, you absolutely need to be going after a caliber of clientele that can afford your services. And,
right.
and I'm going to say something right now that everyone really needs to take note of. Okay. Lack of money is not a cause. Lack of money is a symptom.
Mm-hmm.
If you get nothing else out of today, know that if you're approaching a target audience, and lack of money is not the cause. Lack of money is a symptom. I can guarantee you, I can walk into a room and if I have someone who's actually, blah, 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 but they don't have the money, that is not the cause of their inability to purchase. It is actually a symptom of actions that they are taking every day. That's the first thing. So the first thing is you need to dial in who is an audience that actually can afford and will pay for your services. Okay, that's the first thing.
Right.
Second of all, these clips. Okay, these clips, the shaky stuff is kind of like it's a little.
It has to be redone. It's being redone right now. Yes.
Good. So I mean, so that's one thing. The other thing too, like stuff like right here, this clip. You need to get these things color corrected. It looks like it was taken from TV from 30 years ago.
Right.
The color is off. You got these magazine covers. They need to be crisp. They need to be sharp. Otherwise, now that one said 1996. So that's showing some stuff. You must. People are going to know you in a matter of 9-10 seconds. Okay. And it's even something that I even go over, even in my book, is over the factor of the length of time that we have. I actually say it right in here that a recent study by Microsoft, it's literally right here. A recent study discovered the startling fact: goldfish have an attention span of 9 seconds before flicking onto the next item. We humans now have the attention span of 8 seconds compared to the 12-second attention span we allegedly used to possess. 8 seconds. Besides the fact that it is very humbling that we have 1 second less attention span than a freaking goldfish.
I got it. Okay.
But the bottom line is that's short. So this has got to be crisp.
Right.
This has got to be crisp. Okay.
Right.
And then we get in the limelight, you in the media, your voice, your message, your story, your brand. You need to be now. Do you have
all
content?
This? Yeah, this is all the stuff we started to deconstruct it already. So again, so what you're looking at is, that's just some more cred right there. So, and that is being moved at the moment. So that slider with all that, this is being changed. So I've got that going over as to the web guide today.
Okay, so a thing about this is, first of all, again, it's like, if this is going to be about you, again, we want a great shot. No one, I'll tell you right now, if someone were to look at this today, even if you're going to redesign it, the way this is written, people have no attention span. You need short one line points. You need points, bullet, boom, 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 snip, flick, 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 flick. No, this first paragraph will never be read, ever, never. Right.
Got it.
But here's the other point. and everyone needs to know this. We are way past the point of, hey, let me show you my resume, let me show you my credentials, and let me show you all the great things I've done in the past. The people who are going to have the money to hire any of us for our services, people who are going to be good clients, they're not looking to the past.
We have all that ready, David, honestly. You have all that ready to go. So all the stuff I'm doing now is been prepared, and it's over at the web guy. We had a meeting yesterday. So
Okay.
yes, agreed. Thank you.
All right, cool.
Yep.
It's got to be about the future. It's got to be about the aspiration.
Yes.
It's all about bang. All of us are going to win to the extent that we actually start to have clientele,
Right.
And customers who are looking for that next great milestone, that next great chapter for themselves.
Yeah.
It's future oriented.
And that video is coming off the first page too. That video won't
Awesome.
be on the first page anymore. We're moving that off as well. So we're on it. I just wanted to, run a few things by you and see if I was potentially moving in the right direction. And I think
yeah. It's like you gotta be like short snap poppy, boom, 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 boom. You gotta be like, short and sweet, kind of like Danny DeVito, but a little cuter.
I'd like to think I'm cuter than Danny DeVito. Thank you.
You are. No, you're absolutely cuter than Danny DeVito, but he's
Okay.
he's short. He's got the short thing. He owns that category of short and mouthy, making his presence felt. And
Awesome.
so, but
Thank
that's the stuff you need to do. And here's another. I'll leave you with this point. And I use this all the time with the brands that I create and the brands that I work on and rebrand and refresh. I ask myself, would Apple do this? Would Tesla do this? Is this the world-class brand? Because none of us, no matter our love affair with our brands, can absolutely be the worst thing that happens with our brands. Oh, I love our brand, and I'm known as the guy. It's like, my clients will come. Oh, well, we've been working on this, and they have all this passion, this love, and this, and they show me, and I said, and I'm the one that looks at this wonderful little baby that they're showing to me, and I go, I've seen better, and it's like I love the passion, but kind of like that third eye and the purple hair kind of like freaked me out a little bit. So. That's the thing. Our love affair and our passion, that's not going to telepathically connect. We need to go, okay, people have no attention span. Bang. What's the thing? If I were looking at this against the noise, we always have to look at the noise that's out there, because everyone has options. Everyone's got options.
Yeah.
As much as, and truly, and trust me, I have had some of the most brilliant entrepreneurs who have created incredibly revolutionary, disruptive products or services. And I look at their stuff, I said, why the hell are you talking like everybody else?
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so that becomes their Achilles heel. And they say, well, it's obvious that blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, obvious where? And I say, look and read with me. Look, get out of your head, look at the world from the outside in. And all of a sudden they go, holy shit. They were so busy with the noise between right here, that they were blinded. They didn't have the necessary impartiality. So have that impartiality. And anyway, does that give you some good tips?
Yes, appreciate
Awesome.
your time. Thanks so much.
Absolutely, Clarissa.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions in regard to what David and Clarissa were talking about? If they do, just go ahead and put like a little raise your hand. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and go to Elka and Kurt. I went ahead and put that in the chat as well. So go ahead, David, and I'll let you rock and roll. Do your thing.
All right.
Oh my God.
Okay, let me pull up.
Morning.
Okay, and so Kurt. So who is this?
No, that's me. Kurt is not here.
Oh, very good. Elka.
Exactly, it's Elke. It's just Elke.
Where are you from, Elka?
Well, I'm from Germany, but I live in Seattle, so it's still early. It's still
okay.
So that's why I sound like I chain smoke, but I don't.
Very, very good. Okay, so Kong Academy. So why don't you tell me quickly what is Kong Academy and who's your audience?
We empower kids, and we work with kids and with parents, but the end goal is to empower kids. And the reason why we included parents is because they have kind of play an important role in the life of kids. And we realized that many of them are lost and need help and need support. So that's why we added parents to the whole thing. And we teach social and emotional skills through play and movement to kids. And we just started a parenting course.
Okay, cool. And how is your service actually delivered? Is it virtual or what?
The kids stuff, no, the kids stuff is in person here in Seattle. So that's really not our main focus, because that's pretty easy. Most of the stuff is word of mouth, and we have very limited capacity. So right now, that is actually, I think that's fine. Our parenting course, it's virtual. It's an online course. We have videos and workbooks and weekly coaching sessions with parents. And we also have the thing that really differentiates us from many others, we also include the kids. So we have coaching sessions for the kids as
Okay.
part of the parenting course, because again, is this a franchise? No, it's just us. But it's
Okay.
definitely something that at some point we would like to turn into a franchise.
Okay, so what drives the revenue? Is it the online parenting course? Is it what drives the revenue?
Right now it's the in-person stuff. Right now the kid stuff is the one that feeds the parenting course, because the parenting course we started in April. So this is really something that we've been trying to get off the ground with like a million different ideas. It's like we try one thing, it doesn't work. We try something else, it doesn't work. We try something else. It's like, but the money comes from the in-person stuff with the kids.
Okay, so what currently is working?
What's working is the program for the kids. So we have really big summer camps. We had 1,000 kids last summer. We
Awesome!
now start preparing.
Congratulations. That's good.
You. Start preparing our summer camps for next year, and the
so does that mean it's only seasonal?
No. So we have an after school program that goes from September to June, and then June to September we have summer camps. So does it not make sense? So September to June we have an after school program. June, July, August we have summer camps.
Okay, and it sounds like the summer's going well. How's your September through June? How's that going?
That's okay.
Good. What isn't happening that should be happening?
We need to get the word out about the parenting course.
Okay. So obviously parents are going to make the decisions for the kids. So how are you basically connecting or communicating with parents to actually enlighten them on that, and what's the obstacle you're running into in terms of actual getting them onboarded? So we obviously use our current client base, our current families that send us their kids, and we started an email campaign 3 weeks ago, and kind of to educate them. But the challenge that we have for our current families is they know us as we teach their kids. So that's what we do. We teach their kids, but then they are really confused. It's like, well, why us now? Well, don't you just do kids? So that's something we are trying to kind of. So we just had a book published last week where we contributed to a parenting book. We have a TV show about where we do parenting advice. So we do all of that, but it's still really hard for us to tell our current parents, hey, we do more than just kids. But we also started actually again last week a LinkedIn campaign, because what I really want to do is I want to get into companies and teach staff, because if staff if they have a happy and calm family life, they will be more productive. If they don't show up at 9 o'clock in the office and they're already tired and exhausted, then they're just going to be better employees. Yeah. I have an idea which I think you should try. I think it'll just be an absolute blast. See, here's the thing. What you've got is you got parents who, if parents are going, huh, why us? Which itself is weird, because you would think, oh, cool. I would think that parents would go, oh, cool, something for us too. But today, with, I think, economic factors and cultural factors, that parents are wanting to offload. Oh, you take care of, which is its own problem. I think you could have a ball if you were to create these little almost like a little storybook that you give the kids to bring home and they read to their parents. So in other words, now it's like the kids teaching the parents something. And if they can actually, and almost, you can almost make it a project that they could even capture it. They could record it on, on video, reading to their parents and what happened. And it's sort of like something that becomes a little bit of like an enjoyable little point of where there's some quality time between the parent and the actual kid, but the kid is now teaching the parent through this book a little something. And it would absolutely, and if you had like a series of those and that went on for a series of weeks, one is who, it's like we bring it in and you share it amongst, and then you can use it on social media, and it shows the kids in action, but it also shows your ingenuity. So instead of just using the usual media channel of email, you're actually going, wait a second, the kids are already here. The kids are enjoying the program. Let's now flip it and actually find an entry point to communicate. And maybe it becomes like a 3-part or 5-part story where you literally have these little cliffhangers, and the short stories. It maybe it's like 10 pages, with big type, and it just kind of like boom, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. And then you have a wonderful little cliffhanger. And then wait for next week when they get the next installment. And it would just become this fun little component between the kids, your school, your academy, and the parents. And it would be sort of like, how ingenious was that? They used my kid to actually get to me, and it got some quality time together, and it became social media. And so right there, you literally are leveraging all these things on a channel that otherwise would not be available to you. You never want to overlook these opportunities. It's like, that to me is a golden opportunity.
That's a fantastic idea. That's actually and it sounds like
if you need to eat before me, just crack on.
Well, I will eat at 7.
And it sounds more fun like sending another email. So that's that's a great idea. Well,
yeah, I think that could go. I think that could go a long way, because I mean, it's just like I was looking at the site, and I think there are other things that I was like, okay, but I think that from that standpoint. Oh, one other thing, it looks like, I want to just point this out. It looks like it may not be, and you want to fix this. It looks, I just pulled this. It looks like your site is not mobile
Friendly.
doesn't look like it's actually designed to actually be mobile responsive. So that would be an issue. Because many of the people are going to see this on their actual iPhone, or they're going to see it on a smart device. So check that out for how that works. Okay.
On my phone it looks like this. So it looks. Can you see that?
Okay. So it looks all right. It looks like it is responding. All right, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Usually it'll detect when the windows, but it's not in this particular one. But okay, good. I'm glad to see that that's the case.
Yeah. No, that was definitely one of the things, because our previous page wasn't. So that was awful.
Yeah. And last thing I want to just check here. Okay. I mean, it's okay. So you got decent stuff. Make sure like stuff like this, you want to keep this on brand. I'm looking at that. It's like you've got color, you got different stuff, and then I get here. This doesn't look fun. The color, it doesn't look fun. It doesn't look bright. Make sure you want to have your consistency of brand elements in terms of color, in terms of typography. What's the thing that you represent? So that way that people are not confused with, because if all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, we've got the no problem parenting, and it looks kind of like a deeper tones and a little more serious. Now what the shit? I mean, parents want to have fun too, right?
Great. I love this analysis. Now, it looks like there's a few questions here. Melissa was asking, we have coaching session for kids. That was it was a good statement. She didn't understand what empower kids. And then same thing with Dr. John Dindico, excuse me, forgive me, but I'm a bit confused here. Empower kids to do what or to be what? So I love, David, if you could explain a little bit how important it is to have the right terminology that obviously facilitates the right response for that person that's reading it.
Absolutely. I'm just looking at these comments. So good. We've coaches. I didn't understand what empower kids meant until you said that. Okay, good. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You want to be crystal clear. It's like, what does, especially in today's frankly, today's world is pretty nutty. There's a lot of solutions for children which have the wrong criteria. Frankly, many of the things that are out there today are, hey, how to make the kids quiet so that I can just get on with doing my stuff and make them something that's non-disruptive to the parent's life. But that's not empowering. That's not empowering the family. That's not making the kids a valuable citizen, future citizen of culture. So the thing you want to be really clear about is that if you're, and actually, I'm really glad you guys asked this question, because here's where it's going a little far afield, and this is probably why the questions came about. Many times when we as companies and services are promoting what we're promoting, we're talking about what we do. We coach kids, or we empower kids, or It's like, what's the outcome? We always want to be talking about the outcome. We always want to be talking about the transformation that we make possible. That if you talk about that, and that's the distinction between the what versus the how. Oftentimes when we as business owners and creators, we're talking about, oh, how do I do blah? Well, let me tell you that, and again falls into that. Let me tell you about what we do, about our You know what? The conversation with our prospects does not start at our front door. It starts at their front door. Why? Because at their front door they open that door. What are they faced with? It's like their challenges, their aspirations, their goals, their dreams, and their problems. Anybody who does not have a problem is in a cemetery. Anybody who has a pulse has a problem. And a problem is synonymous with a goal. I would not have a problem with something if I didn't realize there was a gap between my current options that I have and face today versus what could be. Recognition of that gap is a problem, is an aspiration, is a challenge, is an objective. So if you understand that and you talk from that standpoint, hey, have you ever wanted your child to boom? Have you ever hoped that your child could boom, 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 boom? That talks to their aspiration, that stuff like that. And it's like, that's what we specialize in helping to bring about. Bang, that would eliminate, well, what do you mean? Are you talking? Then they don't get tripped up with the how. Make sense?
Yes, that was great. And
Awesome.
I'm super grateful for the questions, because because to me it's super clear, because I do it all day long, but it's really interesting to see what other people how it talks to them or what their questions are.
Yeah, good. Are we any other questions we need to take up, Christian?
No, it looks like Jay Miller is asking, so you keep introducing ideas and pivoting. Have you ever tested 2 to 3 ideas? So this is a good question, David. When you are facilitating or adjusting these keywords like you're mentioning, what does that look like in regards to the testing aspect of it whenever you're pushing that stuff out? And
well, you do test, you do see what resonates and what triggers. But one thing that really helps fast track that is when you do a real thorough assessment of the noise out there. What's getting traction? What's the stuff? But at the same time, we're all in the business of disrupting the incumbents, right? So the bottom line is everyone knows blah 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 blah. I love the everyone knows. So you start to collect and you take inventory of what's out there, and you go, okay, what's out there? Okay, well, there's this and there's this and there's this, and you will find, and I will tell you, just from having done it thousands of times, you will find that the majority of your competition are using very similar sounding offers and pitches. They might be talking about they're the best, they're the most innovative, they're the most knowledgeable, they're the most blah, 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 and you'll go, oh my God, if you also do that, you're going to be a cliche. You're going to blend in. You will not differentiate yourself, because here's one thing to know. Different is better than better. I'm going to say that again so you really get different is better than better. And why is that? Because better is simply a matter of like, oh, okay, that means we're still in the same box and category of available options. Oh, they've got 3 colors, we have 6 colors. Oh, they can do it in 24 hours, we'll do it in 18. You're still playing by the same things. But if you are really disruptive, you actually will be able to come in and provide something that is actually different. It may be the way that it's presented, it may be the quality with which it's done, it may be the speed with which it's done, it may be the range and the scope of the problems that it solves, but different is better than better. Better means, oh, we're incrementally a little bit, you know, better, more worthwhile than they are. Why use that basis comparison when you can actually come in and actually introduce something more distinct? And then of course you test it and you see, you don't do it to sound just different for the sake of being different. Then you verify and you test, you go, boom, try this. But now you've narrowed it to something that is going to move the dial rather than see a little uptick. And then you got to figure out your next new offer.
Love this, guys. And I love the chat as well. Really great information here. Now, Andy Mowat and Gated, I'm going to go ahead and put his link in there and his content. So I'll let, Andy actually has his CMO on, Melissa as well. So I'll let you guys all engage.
Terrific. I'm going to let Melissa completely lead this, but I'll just start with one thing, which was in my post of, I couldn't agree more around, you have to be different. Everybody sells time. And when we started, Melissa and I said, we can't, yes, we help you save time, but let's go deeper. And so Melissa can talk a lot about that, but Melissa's going to lead the discussion. She's joint architect with me on everything we've done. So and probably has led most of the brand. So Melissa, you're up.
All right.
Hey, well, technically David's going to lead the discussion. We're here to enjoy your expertise. I will let you know, we are similar to Clarissa. We are probably in a week and a half launching an entirely new design on the website. So I would love any of your feedback, but especially around like the brand and how we speak, I think would be more useful for us than the actual website teardown. I used to run these myself for travel industry clients, specific about their mobile experience, and I love this format. So thank you, David. Excited to hear what you see.
Absolutely. Thanks, Melissa. Okay, so noise canceling headphones for email. Gated challenges unknown senders to donate to the charity in order to reach you, so everything in your box is worth your attention. How long is this video?
30 seconds.
Okay, let's see what we got.
With so many unwanted emails piling up, it's hard to focus on what matters most. Other tools only shuffle the mess around. Gated helps you take back control of what gets into your inbox in the first place by challenging unknown senders to donate to charity in order to reach you. It's free and works right in your existing inbox. With Gated, people you know can reach you as they always had. And whenever you send an email to someone new, they're added to your list of allowed senders. Emails from unknown senders go into your Gated folder. You can see those messages if needed, but they're no longer cluttering up your inbox. Unknown senders receive an email challenging them to make a donation to your chosen charity in order to reach you. When they donate, their email is delivered to your inbox and you raise money for your cause. In a world full of increasing noise, Gated takes care of what comes into your inbox, so you can focus on what matters most.
Okay, so now how long is this a startup, or have you been doing this for a bit?
Yeah. No, so we launched our product publicly in March of 2022. So we are fairly new to the market.
Okay.
And a lot of what you saw is a little bit of the product itself is very unique. We're not doing what other people have done. We do something very different. And so that product explainer gets a little bit more into like what the solution looks like.
Yep.
Our new tack is a lot more built around what Andy mentioned, which is the vision. So in this world of digital noise, we are the first ones kind of protecting your attention. And we start in email. We have a much bigger vision, but I'll let you take it. We've been out for about, God, what's that going on? 6 months now, publicly.
Okay. All right. So I mean, the first thing that comes to mind for me is, let me just step out and we'll step back in. So just a couple questions. So the thing is that, so if a company is actually doing is actually generating, they're generating new leads and new people are coming in who have not been whitelisted or whatever like that. How does that person get hit with, hey, to talk to me, you got to pay $1?
Great question. So I'll go into depth about the solution itself, but that actually brings up something which we're hoping to address, which is if you are a seller who's getting lots of inbound leads and that's your day job, this is probably not the product for you. This is a product for people who get a ton of inbound email and aren't depending on immediately responding to that for their core business. But
Okay.
yes.
And what does that look like? What does that look like demographically? So I mean, what's that universe look like?
It probably looks like your inbox, David. You probably get hundreds of emails every night. Now, you could slog through them for an hour every morning. You could put a lot of filters and folders in, but what you'd really be doing is shuffling the mess. And so what Gated does is you put up a little bit of a boundary and say, if you don't know me, if this is not your mom, right? It's not your mom trying to reach your inbox, someone who you don't know, if they're trying to get to you, a marginal cost, like putting a stamp on an envelope to make it into your inbox means that all that other stuff, all the bots, all the pitch slaps, as we call them, aren't weighing David down every morning when he sits down to email. He can actually see the emails that matter. So you would be probably a great target for something like this. Anyone who's getting a ton of inbound email and doesn't want to spend an hour of their morning with coffee, just triaging their inbox.
And what are you signing people up, right? Are people subscribing? How does it work?
Yeah, you can on our new site, it'll be just to sign in with Google. You can log right in with Google immediately.
Right. And you're
yeah, we've been growing between 30 and 50% month over month since we launched.
Okay. So
oh, somebody on there has it. Oh, is that Christian?
Christian's got it. Okay, cool.
Everybody can go turn it on right now.
So this is into noise canceling headphones for email.
Fun little context on this. This actually came from one of our customers. We took it from a customer who said this and actually turned it into a slogan. So I'd love to hear your take.
It's an interesting concept. It's an interesting concept. It's not one that I immediately love because I have to think too much.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what happens. Is I literally go, you know what? I mean, like, and I'm an audio. Pardon my slang, but I'm an audio whore when it comes to this kind of stuff. Christian's going, why did I invite this guy?
He's like, wrong word, David.
But I love great headphones and I love all this kind of stuff. So I'm just like I'm shameless with my love for that experience and noise canceling and all that kind of stuff. And noise canceling, it's like, it makes it possible for me to hear better what I already am wanting to tune in on.
Yes.
But it's like, I think that's a great concept that if it were, probably would be a great concept for a video, because then you can kind of, you can amplify the analogy. By itself, I have to think too much.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I really appreciate that, because we were playing with, I know a best practice is being super clear about what you do, right? Like we reduce unwanted email, and we make it really clear. But we love the analogy, but I think you're right. Maybe up front, it's too much thinking.
It's too much. And see here, to me, when I go through this, it's like I go boom, 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 boom. I mean, this is the most interesting part right here.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the other. But you have to take it one step farther. And I will say for all of us, the best. All right, let me give you a great example for those of us that have been around for a while. Remember when the iPods first came out? So you had the white little thing and the wire and the little iPod that connected. And it was and what happened was those commercials. What did those commercials do? Did it say, hey, cool click wheel, Did it go down the feature route or the outcome, or enjoy your music wherever you go? No, it actually went farther. And so the key thing is we need to know what's the finish line of the discussion. I think you stop prematurely here. So the finish line, like for going back to the iPod thing, the iPod commercials, they showed what? They showed people. It's like having the music wasn't the thing. Being immersed in that just sonic freaking pool of just, and people just doing all of that. So it's like, so to me, it's like, hey, you know what? Cool fact. All right, good fact here. Now, what does that enable me to do? Can I enjoy? Does that enable me to enjoy 3 more espressos during the day than I usually have because now I have more free time? I'm stopped. It's like, what is this stuff? What is it? Let's look at this in the real world. This stuff is a time suck. Good. What happens if you eliminated the time suck from your life? What would your life look like now? That's the thing. That's the story you haven't actually taken. And that would open up so much of a great discussion journey.
I'm actually throwing out the format, but actually, if you look right below that, I'm curious what you think. So one of the things we did is it literally says less makes you free to be more. And this is sorry, right above that in the blue section, right there, right below what you were reading. I'm just wondering. I mean, this format is actually totally tossed out, but I'm just curious. What I
don't like about it is it's like take me 10 steps farther. You've gone one. It's like less I want to meet means you're free to be more. What does that mean? That's kind of like it's a very shallow. It's like punch up the you can have so much fun. You can punch up the pain point. What it's like, hey, you know what? You now can actually go on that date night with your spouse. It's like right now it's like what is it you want? Do you want to sit in front of like the drudgery of like delete, oh crap, oh shit, or do you actually, it's like, what's the fun, what's the joy, what's the hey, it's like, I mean, you could look at so many pain points. It's like, hey, mom, dad, and the kid, and it's like, sorry, I'll get to you. And it's like, and they can have that, or they can actually have quality time with their kids, or they could do that, or they could have quality times with their spouse, or they could do that, and they could actually take time to spend a meal, or they could do that, or it's like, it's this or that, this or that, or this or that. To me, you're in the or business. You're in the business of or, and you can have so many fun, anecdotal, real experiential stuff. Like free to be more, no, it's too shallow. It's like free to be more what? It's like, you know what? I can actually fit in my exercise regimen. I can get rid of that. I can get rid of that COVID fat, right? And, blah, 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 blah. I mean, there's so many stories that you can tell. We're in the storytelling business.
I'm curious because the company's name Gated, and a slogan where it's like, hey, we gate your time so you can do other things, or something like that, where it could be a play on word, if you will. What do you think about that, David?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think the point of, because right now you don't have. That's another interesting thing. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at based on what Christian.
Yeah, to Christian's point, a lot of what we do is I loved your idea of like do more, and I love the idea of putting someone fully in that mindset of what it is like to be winning, to be doing well. Ours is a lot of that like bigger vision and kind of that fun, sexy story that we want to play with is around the attention. So that digital noise hitting you all the time from everywhere, notifications, emails, flooding in all the time, and it's only going to get worse, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of our story is if you actually want to focus and be successful in whatever it is, parenting, building a business, being a CEO, whatever you're focused on, you can't do that if you're in the noise. And so that's like the kind of vibe we're going to play with.
Right.
But you might want to point in really quickly just to the manifesto, which is not a normal one, but David, if you just hit about, there you go, you got it. This is a powerful concept, which is we are not saving people time. Every single tool, whether you're a productivity tool or a cash flow management tool, saves people time. And so we had a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah, it's like I love the fun of this, and I love how these pop up. I love them. I mean, just there's a nuanced technical deal. I'd love for them to repopulate, so that way it seems obviously once they pop up there, I love as it scrolls up and down that it actually repopulates, because that's kind of just a cool little thing. But I love the fact that I love you're dealing with, oh shit, all the usual. You're dealing with the real stuff. And what is that little guy out there?
Mhm.
That was an early idea that I think actually shouldn't be on there. You can follow the dot down. He's the focus dot that you follow down as you go. But I think that actually got cleaned off the site a while back. Good to see.
Okay.
You always find something in these.
So we're increasingly overwhelmed by the noise and struggle to focus on what matters. Again, your concepts are fine, but don't vanillaize them with like, okay, we are increasingly overwhelmed by the noise. It's like, you know what? It's like tired of saying, sorry, honey, I don't have time to grab anything now. I'm just going through today's emails. You know, would be like much more granular and experiential. You are dealing with an actual pain point. Don't dilute it by going big picture, you know, like what does that, so what does this mean? What matters most? Like what? Name it. It's like, you know, it could be family. It could be listening to the newest release from your favorite band, right? It could be going to that new restaurant that just opened up downtown. I mean, it's like, make it real, make it relatable, and you will go so much farther.
Great. I'm loving all these, and I love the ideas that are coming in through chat. Thank you. As all of you know, it's fun to play with, especially a new brand like ours, and to test the messaging that works and resonates. So thank you for the great ideas, everyone. Go try it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
and just to share with everybody, I do actually have it. We get a lot of emails, and so naturally it has been very beneficial. Andy actually helped me integrate that. So 100% definitely would recommend it. It's very free, integrated. But David, appreciate this. This is immense. I do want to let you know, I know it's coming on to about 10 minutes before the hour. So David, if you would just go ahead and put your schedule a phone call. If some of you guys have questions and want to reach out and converse or talk, he's willing to have a conversation with you, talk a little bit more, do very similar to what we're doing here, unpacking your brand and stuff like that. So if you would go ahead and David, put that in the chat so they can reach out to you and schedule a phone call. David, I really, first of all, appreciate you making time and available for some of my audience and my ecosystem. And I really appreciate unpacking this. Has been very, very beneficial. And then now what we're going to do, Tim, I want to actually dive into your content. So go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat here. Tim, if you would put on video and audio, and I'll let you guys rock and roll.
Okay, so let me pull this up.
Thanks, Christian.
All right, very, very good. So, okay, Tim, so I'm going to trust your talent academy. So, okay, so let me share the screen so that way everyone can see what I'm looking at. All right, so Trust Your Talent Academy. At Trust Your Talent Academy, we provide a tailored learning journey and one-on-one mentorship to help you achieve financial success through strategic real estate investing. Enroll today. So, unless I'm like completely, challenged here, I think you've got enroll. You want with two. Unless you're going Brit, you want to do it with two L's.
Yeah, we get that a lot. So we keep on getting auto-corrected on the computer and in text too. I learned it as two L's, and English is not my first language. So
no problem. So okay, so let's just see. Is it we're financial teaching? What part of Canada?
I live in Edmonton, Alberta, but our academy has students from all over North America and Asia and parts of Europe now too.
Okay. So trust your talent. This is fascinating to me. So I would never in a million years have thought that something having to do with real estate investing was actually is trust your talent. I mean, trust your talent sounds like you might be talking about public speaking. You might be talking about something else. How did you come to trust your talent? And that's question number one. And question number two is, does that result in you guys having to explain a lot when you're talking to people who are looking at taking your courses or resources? Does that require a lot of, here's why?
Yeah, I think it does get the conversation started. We actually haven't had to explain a lot just because leading up to this point, most of our students are coming from word of mouth, pretty much 99.9%. We're just starting to, I mean, the page that you saw is actually recently done by based on the UX designer's feedback. And so I wanted to create an academy. We focus on, our mission statement is to help people create financial independence one person at a time. And so we do it through real estate investing. And so that's really just a vehicle. Ultimately speaking, we do stand for financial education. So for those of you who kind of know about Rich Dad Poor Dad, that's kind of, that's exactly kind of what we want to push out there as well. And that has a lot to do with my personal background. But to answer your question, we wanted to call it Trust Your Talent because most people think financial freedom, financial independence are very out of reach, and it's this just marketing term and it's not relatable. And we wanted to create a name that would, first of all, create, foster, and then reflect the idea of you got to believe in the fact that you can first. We get asked a lot if we run a modeling agency. So.
and so okay, and how long now? How long have you been doing this?
We launched January 2020, and so about 2.5 years now. We just had our very first live in-person conference in Toronto this past weekend.
Good. How many people were there?
We have about 130.
Oh, good. Congratulations. How many? And how much? What was the? How much did they pay to attend?
Each student's anywhere between 20 to 40,000.
Well done. Congratulations. That's very good. Solid. Very solid. And so what was the, and so how do you what's your buyer's journey like from people discovering you to then actually arriving at, and is that price point, is that for in general, or is that just the live versus like courses and resources, or what?
That's their entire program, because technically what we do is we offer a 1-year or 2-year immersive programs. So depending on their existing experience level when it comes to real estate, first of all, or second of all, their overall financial education level. And so they discover us through YouTube, through social media, through word of mouth, as mentioned, and they get put through a series of strategy coaching calls. And those are all complimentary, because we want to really keep the integrity and the value of the community. I mean, right now, we really only have about 260 people in our entire database after 2.5 years. However, every single one of them is an active investor. And so that's really the community that we want to create, because I always say no celebrity endorsement, no large stadiums, however, real people, real results. We have anywhere from stay-at-home mom for 10 years that declare financial freedom after 2 years, to people that are in their early 20s and they're completely broke but just cannot keep a job because their entrepreneurial spirits are so high.
And how do people come to discover your Trust Your Talent Academy?
Again, word of mouth is a huge one, and Instagram, Facebook, and I have created some videos on YouTube as well. And I do go on quite a bit of podcast interviews, and people hear about us from there.
Very cool. Well, I love the fact that it sounds like you're building a community. So there's a few key things that I want to just like say here, and then we're going to just dive back into. So one is, what I love is the fact that you're building community. That's key. Building a community, it cannot be overestimated in terms of what that's going to mean for your business. You need to build that foundation and widen it and elevate it. So so the fact that you're doing that is great. It sounds like you've done the right thing of really isolating, and finding an audience that they're really willing to invest in themselves. They're willing to, and you're giving them the tools to get there. So, I mean, I feel like Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank, and like going, it's like, I like the numbers, your numbers are good. That's good stuff. Let me just see here. So number one, now this is interesting. So you got the number one, I typed on the about page. That's your about page. So we've got number one, financial education provider in real estate investing, and drilling down the core. No, I think it's interesting. I would not have thought with Trust Your Talent Academy, like you said, they think you're a model agency, something like that. That's where I would have gone. It's like, but a tailored learning journey and one-on-one mentorship to help you achieve financial success through strategic real estate investing. So, no, I think I like you're lean. I mean, there's stuff that you can do. I mean, right, the factor of having Trust Your Academy, and here you have Trust Your Academy, I think you could do more in terms of Now I'm going to talk to you about branding real estate. I'll let you talk about your real estate. I'll now talk about the real estate that I know well. So the thing is all right, you've got, this is your brand. All you've done here is repeat the brand. And that was at that we provide, okay, fine as far as the language. I think you could have a much stronger, much more compelling, something that either asked a question or that opened and really get your claws into their either their pain point or their aspiration. All right. And again, look at this. Trust it. It's like, believe me, after 1, 2, 3 times, it's like, I really know that I'm on Trust Your Talent Academy. I don't. So again, I'd go, let's be a little more engaging, something that yanks them and hooks them. Right.
Yeah, UX is still updating a lot of this right now.
Yeah.
Literally just launched this on Monday.
If I see Trust Your Talent one more time, I'm gonna have to jump out the window.
Yes, I hear ya. I see it now too.
Right. So our mission to create financial independence one person at a time. Good. Do you is there a particular, because again, that's fine as a concept, but it feels like it can apply to almost anything, right? Like it could probably, there's probably 5,000 companies that could just say, okay, yeah, that describes us, right? And so that's one of the things that I look at as an asset test. So is there a demographic? Do you say, you know what, we've looked at the people that have actually come to us, what's their financial wherewithal? Have they reached a certain chapter in their life? Like, you know what, I've made my first million, I've made my first 5 million, but now I kind of want to leverage those assets, not just sort of allow them to slightly accrue. I want to leverage, so I mean, I think that those little discussion points you could touch upon without getting overly geeky on them, right? You're not going to get overly geeky and talk, you don't have to talk real estate lingo and all that kind of stuff, but you can just go there to really connect with them. So that way they know that you are, they go, oh, wow. And they want to know more.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
So absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Cause that's what what we always say within Trust Your Talent, all the trainers and mentors, we say that we're here to teach people not to buy, rent, and pray, because that's what most people do when it comes to real estate. And we're teaching people how to invest strategically. So leveraging it as a business tool so that we can create multiple sources of income and long-term wealth at the same time.
Yeah.
But within that, there's so many more things, kind of like, again, branding is one umbrella.
Yep. Yep. And it's like, and again, when you're talking, and this applies to everyone here, when you're talking, ask yourself, because sometimes you're gonna say something and the concept is fine. The way you packaged it is horrendous. Separate the concept from the actual package of it. So, like, in other words, I'll give you a perfect example. So because you don't want to blend in and sound like all of your competition. If you sound like your competition, and this is for everybody, if you sound like your competition, you are promoting your category. You're not promoting your company. Right? If you're using cliches, that is what's happening. So, like, for example, there's a tea that I had seen that I was like, oh, that sounded like a pretty good tea. Everyone who knows me knows that I love excellent quality espresso. Anyway, blah 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 blah. But this sounded like a really good tea. Sounded like good for gut health and this and that and I'm like, all right, sounds really good. And the way they talked about their tea was not by talking about their tea as much as talking about, do you experience afternoon slumps and energy? Now, look at that. They're selling tea. They're talking about what? The pain point. Interesting. They're not now trying to pitch me on, oh, let me tell you about our tea. No, it's like, yeah, here's our tea. Here, we'll tell you about our tea in relationship to this. Now, the interesting thing is that, and I don't know where everybody's from, but let's just talk about America. Probably 90+% of Americans, adult Americans, experience an afternoon slump. Okay, so Fantastic. Everyone has this problem. Great. So now they've identified this problem. And I loved when I got their shipment. Their stuff arrived with their packages of the teas. And here's what they did that was cool. And this is, you'll appreciate this, Tim, because you'll see how this goes. They had a few, like 2 or 3 coasters that were included in with their teas. So that way your tea cup could go on this little coaster. What did it say in the coaster? Conquer the afternoons. I thought that was the coolest thing, right? It wasn't like, hey, enjoy more of our tea, you know, drink more of our tea. It wasn't like they talked about the right thing, conquer the afternoons. It's like, damn, I'm all over that. Yeah, of course I want to conquer the afternoons. Absolutely, I want to kick the shit out of the afternoons. I want to show the afternoons who's boss, right? So that's the thing. So I think that's from a standpoint of storytelling with what you've got going. I mean, I love the success that the penetration that you're making. I love the tribe that you're building. I love what you're doing. But boy, I think you can paint so much more of a bigger picture and get them to go, oh my, I mean, help them connect dots that they will never connect without you. That's your job. Help them connect dots that without you there, they would have gone, because I'll tell you, I'll make you a fly in the wall. If many times I'm in speaking with a company and saying, hey, Dave, we would like to hire you, blah, 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 blah. And occasionally someone will try and do this. They'll try and take ownership of the conversation and go, so all of a sudden they're going to try and make me prove myself. They say, well, so David, why blah, 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 blah. And it's one of these obvious questions. And I look at it and I know that it's not a real legit question. It's one they think they should ask because of the homework that they did. They don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what their problem was. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting in that conversation. So I already know that they don't know all that they should know. So they ask that question. And what will I do? I'll say, you know, I understand why you're asking that question. And I think it's a good and important question. But the question that I would be asking is, how come nobody is, and all of a sudden they're like, that's a really good question. We never thought of that before, right? So I've pivoted. I've taken ownership of that. And I think that that's the great opportunity that you have, Tim, and I think all of us here have, is to go, you know, it's like, okay, what are the questions they're asking? You can touch upon those. And then you could literally pivot and go, but the real question that one should be asking is, why isn't anyone, or how come people aren't, or how come and actually challenge those little things so that now all of a sudden you've reframed it and they will go, oh, no. And that's the kind of thing that happens, because with all of the things that we've covered in this particular time we spent together this morning, this an hour, a little over an hour, this just gives you a little glimpse into the kind of stuff that if you have more questions and you want to schedule time to talk, you know, basically Christian has put in the link. I put in the link a little bit. I'd be glad to jump on a call with you. And if you are kind of like, damn, this 1 hour, I got a lot of value out of, I will tell you, I've put together a 9-week program that after 9 weeks being mentored by me, besides it being educational, there's also literally a mentoring thing where we spend 9 Saturdays in a row, 2 hours each. At the end of that 9-week window, people are like, this can't end. This is not, Saturday mornings are my favorite time of the week now. They love it. But it's powerful. It's intimate. I really care about making sure entrepreneurs work hard enough. Now I just want them to work smarter. You know, I love taking the stubborn and unapologetic entrepreneurs and making them wealthy, stubborn, unapologetic entrepreneurs. I love helping them add that additional adjective to their descriptors, because you can get there with the right tools. And like you said, I mean, like, hey, you've got the talent, man. I'm stealing Tim's stuff. You know, you got the talent. Now put it to work, you know?
This is awesome,
Absolutely.
David.
Thank you.
Definitely, guys. Hey, I appreciate every single one of you guys for jumping on. David as well. I appreciate you just adding value to my ecosystem and to my community and just unpacking that. I think that's one of the best ways to do this. And again, guys, that is the slayer of the mundane, the liberator of awesomeness. He's got an amazing best-selling book, Brand Intervention, if you guys want to grab that as well. But also, he did.
It doubles as a good weapon too. If anybody in your office gets out of line, you go, and trust me, you will leave a lasting impression. It's very, very powerful that way. Double duty, and it even could work as a cutting board.
I do love your hat, by the way. That's very cool.
Thank you.
And I also do know David raps a little bit, so he can pull down a beat if you guys want to, go offline. But hey, guys, until next time, always, obviously you guys can connect with David outside of this here. But guys, always remember, be uncommon if you can. Enjoy, and I'll see you all, guys. Until next time. Cheers.
Christian, you're the best, man. I appreciate it. Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for talking, all of you.
Thank you.